This is Daily Armenia, CivilNet's daily news digest. Here's what's making headlines in Armenia today. Armenia has passed the point of no return in relations with the Collective Security Treaty Organization, a Russian-led military alliance. The country's Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan said in Parliament yesterday, "Our stance is as follows. Before Armenia faced Azerbaijani military aggression in 2021, we discussed this with our allies, and they told us that an invasion of our territory would be a clear red line. However, when the aggression happened, both in 2021 and 2022, they claimed that they cannot intervene, as our border with Azerbaijan is not delimited. Thus, our discontent with the CSTO has no connection to the situation in Karabakh," Pashinyan said, refuting the recent statement made by Russian President Vladimir Putin, who claimed that Armenia had requested the bloc to assist its efforts in Nagorno-Karabakh, despite formally recognizing the region to be Azerbaijani territory. The border crisis between Armenia and Azerbaijan started in May 2021, soon after Armenia withdrew its troops from vast areas surrounding Nagorno-Karabakh that it had controlled since the 1990s, abiding by the ceasefire provisions that ended the 2020 war. The crisis escalated in September 2022 when Azerbaijani forces launched artillery and drone strikes against numerous Armenian settlements, invading its internationally recognized territory. The hostilities resulted in several hundred casualties on the Armenian side, and the occupation of approximately 200 square kilometers of its territory, which remains under Azerbaijani control. Armenia suspended its membership in the CSTO shortly after the September 2022 events, refusing to provide its share of financing to the organization and abstaining from joint military exercises and meetings, but has yet to formally exit the bloc. Pashinyan said in September that the bloc was creating threats to Armenia's sovereignty and existence, and also accused Belarus, another CSTO member country, of supplying Azerbaijan with munitions, despite formally being an ally of Armenia. Lawmaker Hovik Aghazaryan, recently expelled from the ruling Civil Contract Party, alleged yesterday that Armenia's Investigative Committee passed personal data from his confiscated phone to Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan, while Parliamentary Speaker Alen Simonyan accused Aghazaryan of leaking classified information to the media. The controversy surrounding Aghazaryan intensified after he was summoned for questioning by the Anti-Corruption Committee. This followed public accusations by Audrey, the now dismissed chairman of the Investigative Committee, who claimed Azoulay had attempted to interfere in a probe involving his son's business activities last month. "They confiscated my phone, which I didn't mind, as they said they'd only access the data relevant to the investigation. However, my personal information was somehow reported to the Prime Minister," Aghazaryan told reporters today. The Civil Contract Party demanded Aghazaryan resign from his National Assembly seat shortly after the public clash with Karaman. However, Aghazaryan refused, citing advice from an unnamed friend in Russia. He was expelled from the party on Tuesday for disobedience, but remains in Parliament as an independent member, though he could be stripped of his mandate if convicted of a crime. Addressing reporters, Parliamentary Speaker and senior civil contract member Alen Simonyan claimed Aghazaryan had come under scrutiny after the party leadership discovered he was leaking sensitive information, though he did not clarify whether the leaks involved state secrets or internal party matters. Prime Minister Pashinyan also commented on the matter yesterday, revealing that the Anti-Corruption Committee had transferred the investigation of Aghazaryan to another, less independent agency, possibly the State Security Service. Pashinyan suggested that there is evidence indicating Aghazaryan's leaks may have endangered national security. He further stated that Civil Contract would pursue all legal means to revoke Aghazaryan's parliamentary mandate. A group of NGOs from Nagorno-Karabakh appealed to United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Guterres and UNESCO Director-General Audrey Azoulay today to send a mission that would document cultural crimes and heritage destruction committed by Azerbaijan in the region. The organizations detailed severe instances of cultural destruction, including the complete demolition of churches and entire historical quarters in the region's capital Stepanakert, as well as the desecration of cemeteries. They also highlighted the destruction destruction of more than 30 art collections, hundreds of Hajj cars, and multiple historical sites. The NGOs criticized UNESCO for failing to implement its cultural heritage protection mandate, arguing that the organization has merely issued statements and expressions of concern instead of taking concrete action to document and prevent further destruction. Azerbaijan ethnically cleansed Nagorno-Karabakh last year, imposing a 9-month blockade of the region that culminated in an offensive that forced all of the region's Armenians to flee and seek refuge in Armenia proper. The first group of Syrian Armenians awaiting evacuation from Syria will arrive in Yerevan next week, as the country's government forces are at war with Turkish-backed Islamist military groups. Hovhannes Alexanyan, a senior official at Armenia's Office for Diaspora Affairs, revealed today. At this moment, it is impossible to organize mass evacuation or deliver aid, as both Aleppo and its airport are under full control of the Islamist groups, he said, adding that the few local Armenians who managed to escape the danger zone will be evacuated on board a flight from Damascus to Yerevan on Saturday next week. Alexanyan also said that the arriving Syrian Armenians who are not Armenian citizens will be provided refugee status upon request and will be able to use healthcare benefits free of charge, adding that there are roughly between 10 and 12,000 ethnic Armenians in Aleppo, a city with a historic Armenian diaspora community. The situation stems from last week's attack by the Hayat Tahrir al-Sham terrorist group on Syrian army and allied force positions, resulting in Islamists capturing Aleppo, the country's second largest city, with minimal resistance. Armenia's embassy in Syria's capital Damascus issued an announcement on Tuesday, calling on the Armenians of Aleppo to stay at home and by no means try to leave the city. In a tragic development, a local Armenian, Hovhannes Alexanyan, aged 66, was killed by a sniper while attempting to leave Aleppo, Ganzasa, a local Armenian media outlet, reported on Sunday. And as always, please follow CivilNet for the latest news and independent reporting from our contributors on the ground here in Armenia.